Yes. Actually, what we were discussing that Java is an internet language. We were discussing the reasons behind why we are calling Java as platform independent language. What is the reason? Why? What? Let me recall what we were discussing in my previous session. What we were saying, if there is a program p1.java, if I compile that particular program by using JAVAC p1.java, means I am compiling this particular code. After compiling, what will I get? As I told you, if after compiling this particular .java file, I will get p1.class file. What is the code? Code available in this .class file is known as bytecode. We used to say Java is portable language because of this bytecode. Bytecode is a code which is available in .class file. Because of this bytecode, I can say this is platform independent language. What is the meaning of platform independent? Platform independent means you can write this, you can execute this program on any operating system. You can execute this particular program on any operating system. On any operating system means you can execute it on Windows, you can execute it on Unix, you can execute it on Mac. In whichever operating system you want, you can execute it. If you speak strictly, after compiling, you will get .class file. As I told you, this particular .class file is the code available in this particular .class file is known as bytecode. This code, who can understand this code? This code can, JVM can understand this particular code. What is JVM? Java Virtual Machine. Java Virtual Machine. That is JVM. If I speak strictly, there is a Java interpreter. Java interpreter, which is inside JVM. There are other components. What are those other components? I will discuss in future classes. Time being, just understand there is a Java interpreter in JVM. This Java interpreter can understand this .class file. What is .class file? A code available in .class file is known as bytecode. That bytecode, who can understand? Your Java interpreter can understand. Where can I find Java interpreter? I can find Java interpreter in JVM. After as I told you, this .class file can be understood by Java interpreter. Now Java interpreter can run this particular .class file on any operating system. In whichever operating system you want, it will be executed, whether it is Windows, whether it is Unix, whether it is Mac. As I told you, that's a platform independence. Platform independence means, in this context, platform means operating system. In whichever operating system you want, you can execute that code. But this is, as I told you, this is a unique feature of Java programming language. Prior to this Java programming language, there are so many languages. Actually, they are not platform independent. They are not platform independent languages. For example, if I take C programming language, let me say my C program, let me assume I have a program p1.c. If I compile this program, I will get what particular file I will get? p1.obj. Let me say this particular file is created Windows operating system. If you want to execute this .obj code, again I need Windows operating system. If I want to execute this particular file on Mac, if I want to execute this particular file on Linux, if I want to execute this particular file on Unix, I cannot execute. Why? Because it is platform dependent. Whereas in the case of Java programming language, this p1. Once if I create p1.class file, I can execute it in Mac operating system, Linux operating system, Unix operating system. In whichever operating system I want, I can execute this particular .class file. As I told you, all the browsers like Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, all these browsers are coming by default with JVM, where I can find, as I told you, in JVM I have Java interpreter. Now this Java interpreter can understand this dot class file. I can download this dot class file from some server. Which one is useful to download this dot class file? I need browser. Not this browser is not only useful for downloading this dot class file from server. After downloading, it will also execute this dot class file. Why? Because inbuilt, all browsers are supporting JVM. Inbuilt, I can find this feature JVM. Therefore, inside JVM, as I told you, I have Java interpreter. The Java interpreter can understand this dot class file. That particular dot class file will be executed by Java interpreter, which is available in JVM. There is a proverb. There is famous proverb of our Java programming language: write once, run anywhere. Write once, run anywhere. That is a proverb. Once if you write your Java program, that Java program you can run anywhere. Anywhere in the sense, in this context, anywhere in the sense on any operating system. In whichever operating system you want, you can execute. This is about bytecode. In summary, in briefly I can say what is bytecode. Bytecode is, if I compile some program, after compiling, what will I get? If I compile p1.java, I will get p1.class. If I compile something like kukatpalli.java, if I compile kukatpalli.java, what will I get? I will get kukatpalli.class. If I compile hello.java, I will get hello.class. Isn't it? After compiling, I will get hello.class. The code which is available in this dot class file is known as bytecode. It is the code which because of this bytecode, your Java programming language can be treated as platform independent. Why? Because you can keep this particular dot class file in any operating system. You can execute it. Yes, as I told you, there are two new words Java introduced to the computer world. First one is bytecode. Next one is Unicode. What is this Unicode? We will try to understand. If you speak strictly, there is a code known as ASCII code. This is, I can say, ASCII range. For example, if I take C programming language, in the case of C programming language, there is a data type. There is a data type known as char. Char means character data type. This char data type, what is the size of, if someone is, just try to recall, if you know this particular programming language, just try to recall, otherwise also no issue. Let me assume, let me consider a programming language known as C programming language, in which we have a data type known as char data type. What is the size of char data type? Char data type size is 1 byte. 1 byte means 8 bits, isn't it? In the context of C programming language, as char data type needs 8 bits, there is a formula. What is the range? 0 to 2 power n minus 1. This particular formula you can learn in a subject known as computer organization. Maybe this lecture may not permit me to spend time how one can I derive this formula. Actually 8 bits means what is the range? 0 to 2 power 8 minus 1. 0 to 2 power 8 means 256 minus 1. That is 0 to 255. This particular range 0 to 255, this range is known as ASCII range. Whereas in the case of Java programming language, this is example C. What about Java programming language? Anyway, I will discuss about data types in Java programming language. In the case of Java programming language, we have a data type known as char data type, which needs 2 bytes. 2 bytes means what? 2 bytes means 16 bits. What is the formula? What we were saying? What is the range? 0 to 2 power n minus 1. Actually, it is easy to understand also. In computer organization, there is a concept known as register. What is the size of this register? For example, here you have 8 bits. You have 8 positions. In all positions, I can keep ones. you will get maximum number. If I in all positions, if I keep 0, I will get minimum number. That range we will come from 0 to 2 power n minus 1. Of course, you need to understand conversion of binary to decimal number system, all those things. As I don't want to deviate from the topic, so that I'm not spending time on all these things, isn't it? Let me say like this. As I told you, character means 2 bytes. 2 bytes means 16 bits. According to our formula, 0 to 2 power 16 minus 1. What is this 0 to 2 power 16 minus 1? I can say 2 power 16 means I will get range 0 to 65,535. This is the range, 0 to 2 power 16 minus 1. 0 to 2 power 16 minus 1, that is 65,535. This particular range is known as Unicode range. This is in Java programming language. This particular range is known as ASCII. For example, you can find this in C programming language. Then what is the relation between Unicode and ASCII code? I can say ASCII code is subset of Unicode. Otherwise, I can say Unicode is superset of ASCII code. For example, why do we need all these ASCII code, Unicode, all these things? We know that computer can understand only binary numbers, means computer can understand only zeros and ones. Computer cannot understand characters like A, B, C, isn't it? Each character has got, means every character is assigned a number. For example, let me say capital A. Let me assume capital A is assigned a number 65. Capital B is assigned a number 66. A number which is associated with each character is known as ASCII value. In the context of C programming language, we are saying that this is ASCII value, whereas in the context of Java programming language, we are saying that this is Unicode. What is the basic difference between Unicode and ASCII code? In the context of as its range is very big, 0 to 65,535, you can write Java program in all human languages. You can write Java program in all human languages. In all human languages, in the sense, if you want, you can write Java program. You can write your Java code in Telugu. You can write in Urdu, English, whichever language you want. You can write in Thai language. You can write in Japanese language. You can write in Chinese language. You can write in Hebrew language, Cyrillic language. There are so many recognized human languages. In all recognized human languages, you can write Java code. Why? Because its range is very big. Whereas in the context of C programming language, you can write C program only in English. What is the reason? In English, what is the reason? What's happening? You can give numbers from small a to small z. You can give number to capital A to capital Z. You can give number to full stop. You can give number to comma. Means each character is associated with a number, isn't it? Now, as its range is very small, as they don't have enough numbers to assign to other programming characters. For example, in Telugu, there is a character A. They cannot give a number, ASCII number to A. They cannot give an ASCII value to A. They cannot give ASCII value to E. Why? Because these numbers are exhausted. These numbers they don't have enough numbers. Isn't all the numbers are exhausted as they assign to capital A, capital Z, small z, comma, full stop. Isn't it? But whereas in the case of Unicode, you can assign Unicode to characters available in different programming languages. Therefore, I can say Unicode is superset of ASCII code. That's why you can write, it can give values. For example, till 0 to 255. For example, capital A, let me assume ASCII value of capital A is 65. Even Unicode value will also 65. Why? Because ASCII is subset of Unicode, isn't it? Till 0 to 255. till 0 to 255 they are same. After 255 you cannot find which characters, you cannot find ASCII characters. That's what I want to say. What is the difference between there is, in the context of C programming language, I can create .exe file, whereas in the context of Java programming language, we have a file known as .class file. .exe, what is the difference? .exe contains machine language instructions. .exe contains machine language instructions. Where can I find? Once if I in the context of C programming language, we can see .exe file. Once if you compile and run, you will get .exe file where you can find these machine language instructions. Where in the context of this .class file, you can find bytecode. You can find bytecode. Actually, to explain platform independence, you must understand compiler design. As this class may not permit me to explain those concepts, just let me skip that part. Time being, just understand, as I told you, as I repeatedly saying this .class file, because of this .class file your Java program is platform independent. There is a concept, something like you might have heard, what is virus. You might have heard this term virus. What is virus basically? Virus means, I can say, it is a computer program, isn't it? What is virus? Virus is computer program that causes harm to software or hardware. Generally virus come from .exe files. Virus can spread from .exe files, from .doc files, from .com files. These are the files which are even audio files, even video files. These are the files which are responsible for spreading the virus in most of the cases. But usually virus will not spread with .class files. Whereas .class file, in which programming language I can find this .class file? As I told you, a .class file I can find in Java programming language. Usually they cannot spread virus, but whereas .exe file one can find in C programming language, through which this virus can be spread. I can say this, as I told you, virus is a harmful computer program. It is designed by Pakistanis. This is a harmful code developed by Pakistanis. .class file. I am repeating, .class file cannot spread virus. Cannot spread virus. But whereas in the case of C programming language, we have .exe file, this is the file in many cases which spreads virus, isn't it? If you speak strictly, if you speak strictly, in the case of Java programming language, you cannot see pointers. Of course, Java supports pointers internally. For example, if you want to create some linked list sort of programs, it supports internally, but you cannot make use explicitly. What is the reason? If you know C programming language, if I ask some student why C programming is difficult, if I ask some student what is the reason why C programming is difficult, maybe 90% students may say that because of pointers. People used to afraid of these pointers. That's why you cannot see pointers in Java programming language. As I told you, explicitly you cannot make use it. You can internally it will support. Let me say this is question. Generally in interviews they used to ask this question: why pointers are not available in Java? There's a famous interview question. What is the reasons? First reason is pointers leads to confusion. pointers leads to confusion. In C programming language, people used to get confused with pointers. That's why pointers are not available. They are not available in Java. Of course, as I told you, internally it will support, but we cannot make use it explicitly. The another reason is pointers. By using pointers, you can crash the program. You can crash the systems. Using pointers, a programs can be developed. A programs related to virus and hacking. Virus and hacking related programs can be developed by using pointers. These are the reasons. They are you cannot use as they leads to confusion. They are not available in Java. By using pointers, you can write a programs. By using those programs, you can crash the systems. By using pointers, you can develop virus related, hacking related programs. That's why pointers are not available in Java programming language. Maybe you may get little bit bored as I'm saying same word again and again. This is something like portability, but as it is very, very important, I'm emphasizing on this word. What is portable? Portable means platform independent. They are of same meaning. If I say portable, if I say platform independent, if someone asks me what is the unique feature, what's the greatness of this particular programming language, Java programming language, what is that? That is portable. That is platform independent. The most unique feature of Java over other languages is its portability. When a Java file is compiled, the compiler generates a code known as .class file. This .class file contains bytecode. The bytecode generated on one platform can be executed on any other platform. In this context, platform means operating system. That's why Java file compiled on one platform can be executed on any other platform. That's the Java file is portable. Portable in the sense you can carry the .class file. You can keep in whichever operating system you want. You can keep. Java programs will give same result in all operating systems. Means once if you keep the .class file in first operating system, in second operating system, third operating system, you will get same results. Everything is clearly defined in Java specification. Nothing is left to operating system. That's a unique feature. As I told you, this another beautiful feature of this Java programming language is object oriented feature. People used to call all these okay, object oriented feature. I will discuss Java. If I speak strictly, if I compare, let me compare this Java program with C++. This C++ is also object oriented programming language, but Java is true object oriented programming language. It is true object oriented programming language. Why it is true object oriented programming language? It takes little bit time. It takes few classes. I will discuss. First, I must discuss what is class. I must discuss what is object. Once if you have clarity on what is class, what is object, you can understand what is true object oriented language. Time being, just understand C++ is not true object oriented language, but whereas Java is true object oriented language. This is one feature, portability. Another one is object oriented. Next I can say robust. What is this robust? Java, I can say it is a robust language. Robust person means what? Robust means strong. Java is a robust language. Why people are calling, why Java is robust language? Robust person means strong person, healthy person. Language is robust means what? Java is robust language as data types are strictly checked at compile time. What is compile time? I will discuss. Data types is in the case of Java programming language, data types are checked at compile time. Strictly checked at both compile time, not only compile time, it checks also at runtime. I will repeat, Java is robust. There are so many reasons, so many reasons why are we calling Java as robust programming language. As I told you, robust means strong, healthy. Why it is called strong language? First reason is your data types are checked at compile time and runtime. That is first reason. What is the second reason? This is first reason. It is these data types can be checked at compile time and runtime. Second reason is Java does not use malloc. Java does not use calloc. Java does not use sizeof. If you know C programming language, you might have seen malloc, calloc, all these functions. These basically these functions are memory allocation functions. There is something like memory management. What is the purpose of malloc, calloc, sizeof? All these, they are useful for memory management. In the case of C programming language, programmer or user has to do memory management by using functions like malloc and calloc. But in the context of Java programming language, we need not do memory management. Java software on its own, it will do memory management. Therefore, you cannot find functions like malloc, calloc, sizeof. Whereas in the case of C programming language, you can find these features malloc, calloc, sizeof, which are useful for memory management. But in the context of Java programming language, it will do memory management on its own. Java includes another unique concept known as, this is first one. What is first one? It checks data types at compile time and runtime. What is second one? Memory management. It can do memory management on its own. Whereas in the case of C programming language, I need concepts like malloc, calloc, sizeof. There is another feature of Java programming language. There is something like garbage collection. We will try to understand this garbage collection. with the help of simple programs. This is the one more unique feature of Java programming language. Why Java is called as robust programming language? First one is it checks data types at compile time and runtime. Second one is memory management. My third reason is garbage collection. Garbage means we can understand what is garbage. Java on its own, it will I can say it will collect unused objects, and it will I can say garbage collection frees the memory for the objects that are not used. I can say garbage collection, what is its functionality? It frees. I can say it frees memory. Which one will it free? It frees the memory for the objects that are not used in the program. It will identify those objects which are not used in the program. That objects will be removed from the memory. That's a unique feature. That's known as garbage collection. As I told you, I will spend lot of time on garbage collection in future classes. Now, which feature we are discussing? We are discussing about robustness. First reason is data types checking at compile time and runtime. Second reason is memory management. Third reason is garbage collection. There is another reason. There is something like exception handling. It can handle exceptions. Exception handling. What is exception? Exception means runtime error. It can handle exceptions. Even though if you have some runtime error, it can overcome and it can execute programs. We will spend time. We will write programs. And we will understand what is exception, how one can handle in exceptions after few sessions. Maybe after 4 or 5 sessions, I will discuss about exception, how one can handle exceptions. Even this feature you can find in the case of C++ programming language also. But in the case of Java programming language, it is implemented beautifully. You can see real beautiness how this Java handles exceptions. These are the features. These are the reasons. Because of these reasons, Java is robust language. Maybe I am repeating same thing multiple times, many times. First reason, why it is robust language? Because it checks data types at compile time and runtime. My second reason, memory management. It can do on its own, unlike your C programming. In the case of C programming, I need functions like malloc and calloc. My third reason is garbage collection. It can collect garbage. Garbage means objects which are not used for long time. those objects Java software on its own will collect and it will free, so that you can utilize memory more efficiently. Fourth reason is it has exception handling capability. Therefore, these are the reasons. Because of these reasons, I can say Java is robust language. Other buzzword, I can say other feature is multi-threaded. This is one more important feature of Java programming language. What is this multi-threading? What is the purpose of this? Means even we will execute programs. We will execute programs on multi-threading. How multi-threading is useful? How multi-threading is efficient in the context of Java programming language? We will learn all these things. We can create different processings, different threads. I can perform multiple tasks at a time, simultaneously. At a time I can do different tasks. For example, let me say one thread, I can create multiple threads. What is thread? I will define what is thread. Why? Because just I am giving a broad overview. We will discuss all these things in deeper and deeper manner in coming lectures. Time being, just understand the multiple threading means I can perform different tasks at a time. For example, my thread 1 may be useful for reading keyboard. If I press something on keyboard, I need some program to read it. My thread 1 may be useful for reading character from keyboard. My thread 2 may be useful to display that character on monitors. My thread 3 may be useful, may work with some other, it may work with something mouse. Means I can perform different tasks at a time simultaneously by using multi-threads. For example, there is a server. For example, let me say Gmail server. There are many people are using Gmail. This Gmail server works on the concept known as multi-threading. For Gmail server may serve first user by using thread 1. Gmail server may serve second user by thread 2. It can serve millions, trillions of users at a time by creating a separate thread for each user. But whereas prior to Java programming language, there is something like prior to Java programming language, systems were working by using a concept known as processes. They used to create processes, but creating process is costly affair. It's costly affair. It's time taking. It will take lot of time to create a process. If you compare to threads, process takes more memory also. It consumes more memory. But whereas multi-thread, it is lightweight. It's lightweight. It consumes very little bit memory. Therefore, multi-threading is an efficient mechanism which is available in Java programming language. We will try to understand what is multi-threading. How can I write programs related to multi-threading? There is another buzzword known as architectural neutral. What we were saying, platform neutral, isn't it? Even Java is architecture neutral. Not only platform neutral, it is also architecture neutral. One of the main problems facing programmers is that there is no guarantee exists that if you write a program today, it will run tomorrow, isn't it? As I told you, it's not only this platform neutral means it is independent of platforms, it is independent of operating systems. Architecture neutral means it is independent of architecture. Even every computer has got some architecture. In the context of platform neutral means it is write once, run anywhere, isn't it? In the context of architecture neutral means in all types of architectures you can execute Java program. There are different types of architectures for computers, but this lecture may not permit me to explain about architecture of computer. Time being, just understand this is architecture neutral. This particular program is compiled. There is another unique feature of this particular Java programming language. This is the language which make use both compiler. It is compiled and interpreted language. What is this compiled and interpreted language? Compiled and interpreted language means, as I told you, if there is a Java program p1.java, what is the procedure? What I have to do? I have to compile JAVAC space p1.java. After compiling, what will I get? I will get dot class file. This dot class file, who can understand? We were saying that JVM, if you speak strictly, It's not JVM, it's Java interpreter. It is Java interpreter which is available in JVM. The Java interpreter can understand this dot class file, and it can produce output on any operating system. Just keep on any operating system, it will produce output. Therefore, what it says, this Java program make use compiler. JAVC means Java compiler, JAVA means Java interpreter. How can I interpret? JAVA Java space, just write program name P1, that's it. P1, that's it. Therefore, you will get an output on any operating system. My intention is it will make use both compiler as well as interpreter. This is compiled and interpreted language. But before Java programming language, languages were using either compiler or interpreter. For example, C is generally people used to treat C programming language as compiled language. It's a compiler language. Of course, you can make use interpreter. Either you can make use compile or interpreter in the context of C programming language, whereas in the context of Java programming language, you can make use both of them. Therefore, this particular language will be benefited with the features of compiler as well as interpreter. There is another feature known as high performance, which has got this particular language has got a feature as a buzzword, I can say, high performance. What is high performance? In the context of this particular programming language, there is something like JIT compiler. JIT compiler. JIT compiler. What is the JIT compiler? Actually, JIT means just in time. This is, if you speak strictly, this term is related to something like management subject. I can say this Java has got this feature, very high performance, using JIT compiler. This JIT compiler enhance the performance of your Java program. How it is useful, we will try to understand in future classes. Time being, just go through these features. These are the unique features of Java programming language, which where you cannot find all these features in other programming languages. Specifically, I can say most important, most beautiful feature. Maybe you may get a little bit bored on hearing the same word again and again. This is the unique proverb: write once, write once, write once, run anywhere. Run anywhere. Anywhere in the means on any operating system. Java is platform independent. Java is platform neutral. Isn't it? How it is achieved this feature? By using a concept known as dot class file. How can I create dot class file? How can I create? By using Java compiler. In my next class, we will try to understand simple Java programs. We will try to understand programs related to, we will try to understand concepts using simple Java programming. Thank you very much.